Hey guys, Angie here. So I am coming to you from a little different perspective. So it's been a long time since I made a video. It's been an interesting time frame. But I figured I would combine my two biggest passions, art and trying to help people help themselves. So that is what I'm doing. Over the past couple months, I have struggled a bit, grown a lot, and honestly learned a lot about myself. So paint-wise, what I'm going to do right now is just pour a bed of this green right in the middle here. I don't want to use all of it, a little bit more. And then because I'm using my lovely Lazy Susan, I'm just going to give that a spin to spread out some. So nothing earth-shattering, The relationship that I thought I was in, I am not. And honestly, I don't think I have been in for a while, and just didn't want to admit it, couldn't admit it, not really sure. But needless to say, it's over. I mean, that was really hard when you're talking about someone you thought you were going to spend your life with, only to find out you were mistaken. So, yeah, it's been a little bit of a struggle, but you know what? That's where you learn, that's where you grow, that's how you challenge yourself. So, I have been painting a lot, and instead of filling my own wall space, I am trying to use that creativity and be productive with it. So everything that I have been painting and creating lately, I have been getting ready to sell for the nonprofit that I volunteer at. So what I'm doing right now, it's a cup pour. So basically I put the bed of green down because I really like this dark green. It's kind of a hodgepodge of colors. I have a deep metallic green, that's the base of it. And then I put a little bit of black in there to make it a little darker. And then this is one of my favorite turquoise colors. And the color that I put on the top first is a dark purple. Again, kind of custom made. Where did my lid just go? Shoot. Oh, there it is. The purple was this purple, actually. Craft Smart Violet. And then I just added some black to it to make it darker. And each color, I added a dot, one single drop of this coconut milk. And that gives some great cell activity. The Floetrol does it pretty well on its own, but the coconut oil just adds to it. So I'm just putting some yellow on. This one is kind of a special request by one of our students. They asked that I do one with some certain colors. So I am doing that for this student. I mean, honestly, over the past couple months, I have been spending a lot of time really evaluating myself, who I am, who I want to be, how I want to live my life, my goals, my priorities. And I mean, you can have broad ideas of who you want to be and how you want your life to go. Yes, I want to advance my career at work. Yes, I want to be able to help the nonprofit that I volunteer for. But those are great broad goals, But how do you break them down into manageable goals, achievable goals that you can mark your progress? So that's what I've really been working on, focusing on. And I think I'm making pretty good progress, taking some action. It's been a busy couple months, lots of stuff going on, which is always awesome. But I've also tried to take some special time just for me to do the things that I like, that I know are good for me, that give me peace and help me relax, such as painting. So, a big focus. I have found a church that I really enjoy. The message makes sense to me. It's something that I really look forward to doing. I actually had to miss a week, not this past Sunday, but the Sunday before, just because it was a crazy busy weekend, lots going on, and I was exhausted. And I felt myself. I felt off not going. So, that's kind of different for me. I'm not used to that, but in a lot of ways, I like it. I really enjoy going to church. I've met some really nice people. And just, working on my own relationship with God. That's been one of my goals. So, regardless of what your belief structure is, I am a Christian. I believe in God. But even if you don't, find what works for you, what you believe in, what makes sense to you, what brings you peace. Because, honestly, in this crazy world, we all need something that's going to give us peace, that's going to give us tranquility, that's going to keep us humble, keep us, humility and grace, and remembering to show grace to others and give grace to others. Whatever we want for ourselves, we have to be willing and capable of showing that to others. How can we want something that we can't give? So that's kind of the mentality I've been operating off of. I am not looking for another relationship right now. I wouldn't close the door on one, but it's not my priority. It's not what I'm looking for. So I'm going to add a little bit more paint to this. This table, nothing in my house is level. So everything has a tendency to lean one direction or another. So I'm just kind of changing the direction as I go to kind of offset the leans. I'm not going in the exact same order every time because it's fun to mix it up, but it's hard to see. Right now it looks black. I'll be very curious to see how it dries, but this dark color is not actually black. It's that deep dark purple. So I'll be interested to see if that purple comes through when it dries. But I really like the effect that this cup pour has. It's a fun effect. So I'm going to give it a little spin here, help it spread out some. For people that do acrylic pour painting, I'm not sure if you've come across this, but my most recent batch of Floetrol was a little thinner than usual, which is affecting the consistency of my paints. So I actually mixed these paints up yesterday, which I don't normally do. I normally mix my paints the day of, but mixing them the day before seems to have given me a slightly better, thicker consistency without having to add anything to it, which I like. So that is very nice. So there are some really cool effects going on there in the middle. That looks really cool. And I haven't even done anything except spin this. So we'll give it another little spin there. So, I mean, I've really just spent some time learning about myself, who I want to be. Alright, so I'm going to put a little bit of yellow in the center here. A little bit. This is my metallic peacock blue, which I love. Turquoise. And then my dark purple color. And again, we're gonna give it a spin. So it looks really cool already. I like it. I'm gonna kind of play with it a little bit. So I'm gonna move the phone. So I'm hoping that you can all still see this as I set this down. There. All right. So I'm just kind of going to give it a tilt to move some of these colors around a little bit. I just don't want those big solid blobs of color, so I'm just kind of giving it a very generous tilt to kind of move some of that around and mix the color up a little bit. And as it has a tendency to do, the turquoise is kind of taking over, which is fine because I like turquoise, but I kind of want the focus of this to be a little more of the purple, not the turquoise. So I'm gonna see if I can't tilt some of this turquoise off. If you can't see what I'm doing here, sorry. Tilt, so okay, so that's looking pretty cool. And so there was the dark green base that was down first. So you can kind of see some of that dark green coming up through the colors. And now my hands are a mess. Hold on. Oh, there's a paper towel. I forgot I took my paper towels out of here earlier today. So I'm kind of liking the way this looks. The purple, the dark purple, is still not quite as prominent as I would like it to be, but I like it. So now I'm just going to apply the heat to it. So the heat helps to pop any bubbles. It also helps to create some of the cells on there. So I'm just going to run this heat over all of this. And I've got a couple bare ends, but I'm not worried about that. I can touch those up in a minute. So I know this is probably not the best vantage point for you to be able to see what I'm doing, but basically I am just taking this heat gun that I bought at Home Depot a while back and just running it over the surface. Alright. I don't want to do too much because I don't want to burn the paint. I don't want to scorch anything. Alright, my hands are filthy, but I don't think I'm gonna hurt my phone if I pick it up here. So here is the end result. So you can see by running the heat gun over it, it creates all of these awesome cells. So it looks really cool. So there are a couple, oh, this chair. I hate this chair. So you can see there's a couple unfinished edges. It doesn't take a lot. Finger in the paint, dip on the edge. That's really all there is to that. And sometimes the tray looks just as cool as the painting does. I wish I could keep the paint somehow, because I mean, like, look at that stuff that came off the side. It's cool looking. So here's another empty edge. Add some blue on that edge. All right, it's looking pretty cool. So as you can see, again, the turquoise kind of has a tendency to take over the painting, but I'll be interested to see how it dries. So you can see I did put some of the dark green on the pour, but the bottom layer was all that dark green. So you can kind of see that coming up through the bottom, and I think it looks really cool, especially here on this. It still looks black, but it should, I'll be interested to see how it dries. I mean, even if it stays more black than purple, it still looks cool, but we'll see. So I'll go ahead and let this sit and dry. The consistency was definitely way better than what it has been. So there is my dark green. I was testing using it in these bottles because I'm going to be teaching a class here in a week or two, and I'm going to use the bottles in class as opposed to mixing everything there, so I can mix it a day ahead of time and have everything ready. So this was just a little experiment to see how the paints do mixed a day ahead of time, and I am pretty pleased with that experiment because they work great. This is a much better consistency than my last few have been, so I am happy with that. You know, a little bit of art therapy all in one, so to speak. Don't be embarrassed or ashamed to work on yourself, to admit that you can't do it by yourself. I can't do it without God. I can't. There's just no two ways about that. Every talent that I have, every gift that I have been given is a gift from God. And it's about time I really started paying attention to what He wants me to do with them. So I would urge you to evaluate your own gifts and talents. Everyone has spiritual gifts and talents. You may not think you do, but I guarantee that you do. You know, I am not the best artist when it comes to sitting down and drawing on a piece of paper. I can do it, but it's not great. But I do consider myself pretty talented at combining colors and coming up with unique perspectives. So I take that gift and talent and I run with it, and hopefully I've sold about 4 paintings now. All the money has gone to the nonprofit that I volunteer at. I haven't accepted any money for it. And even the class that I'm teaching, none of the fees are going to me. It's all going to the nonprofit that I volunteer at. So take whatever your gift is. Or if you don't think you have one, spend some time evaluating yourself to figure out what your gift is, because I guarantee you, you have one. We all have one. It's just a question of figuring out what it is. So take that time, spend the time with God to just sit back and really reflect on your gifts, who you want to be, what kind of life He has planned for you. Because as brokenhearted and as hurt as I was about my relationship ending, I realized that it probably had to end the way that it did for me to accept it. Because if He had just said, I don't want to be with you anymore, or, you know, let things drag on, I probably wouldn't have accepted it. And, you know, being ghosted, basically, by someone you were in love with, someone who just a couple months prior said, I still love you, I still want a future with you. Now all of a sudden we haven't spoken in a little over 2 months, just cut off all contact. That really hurts. Really hurts. But at the same time, I think God used this as an opportunity to remove somebody from my life that wasn't helping me, wasn't enriching my life. And without this time, we all seek God when we're hurt, we're scared, we're lonely, but He's there all the time. And I've used this time to deepen my relationship with God and strengthen my wisdom in His Word. And I would strongly encourage you to do the same. So I hope you appreciate this. This is, I know, my first video in probably, 2 months? If not 3, maybe? I've kind of lost track. I guess we'll see when I post it. But I hope you enjoy it, and there will be more to come. So I thank you very much for watching. Bye, guys!